Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. Rowpaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news. Joining BJ Rains today is KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Mike Prater. Listen to Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 95.3 FM The Ticket and online at KTIK.com. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now, here's Mike Prater and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
I can't help but look at that intro video there and think about how much fun the journey of Bronco Nation News has been the last 18 months or so, and how exciting the next couple of weeks are going to be with some cool announcements we have, and going into Mountain West Media Days and into football fall camp. So exciting things ahead for Bronco Nation News. I'm going to have to update that intro video, though, at some point here with some of the new things coming out. But very excited for the future of Bronco Nation News, and appreciate you guys for checking us out here. Every day we do this, 9 a.m., Monday through Friday. I had some weird vacations and holidays and things, but we're pretty much back here every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., moving forward, talking Boise State athletics for about 30 minutes on Bronco Nation News Live. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, but go subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the easiest way as we build that up, and then you can interact. There's a live chat, Prater, on the YouTube. Folks can chat back and forth. There's arguing, there's disagreeing, there's people setting up golf outings sometimes. All kinds of, you never know what's happening in the ICCU YouTube chat. So Dennis already chiming in early saying, happy Thursday, BNN. Looking forward to some more top 10 players. Always appreciate Dennis. But yes, it is Thursday. So Mike Prater is here for his regularly scheduled appearance. And we got the 4th of July, all the camping trips, everything in the books, Mike Prater. And we're ready to really lock in here. 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks from now, we'll be in Vegas for Media Days, and always enjoy Thursdays and getting to chat with you, sir. How's it going?
You know, you tease us early. I mean, come on. What's all these teasing going on about the changes coming? I saw your social media blast yesterday. You opened up the show with that today. I don't like surprises. I don't like teases. You're keeping us in the dark, BJ. What's the deal, dude?
Well, you can find out like everybody else. We'll have our first announcement on July 10th. So Monday, we're coming in on the first announcement. Then July 17th, we'll make our second announcement. And then what I think Mike Prater might think is the biggest announcement of them all, maybe on like July 19th or 18th, maybe a day or two after that, in conjunction with Mountain West Media Day. So I think you'll be excited about it, Mike Prater.
Actually, July 17th is going to be my first anniversary, and we should celebrate that, the fact that I got to 1 year. So I know that's setting the standard really low. So the 17th, is that the announcement on the 17th that Prater's marriage made it 1 year?
Do we know for sure that it did make it through 1 year yet?
I got 2 weeks not to screw it up, right? Well, you do a great job. I can't wait to hear what these announcements are. And when you said that there's a YouTube chat line where there's disagreeing, arguing, and golf game talk, sign me up. I want to be a part of the team.
Plenty of other stuff as well, but that's just kind of some of the things that people will talk about in the ICCU YouTube chat. Again, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, we're trying to move these shows more permanently to YouTube. That's where there's a better way to monetize it, and that's the one where we can read your comments. We can't take your Twitter comments, so with the program we use. So if you want to make sure your comments get on the air and you want to chat with other folks in real time during the shows, when we're talking with the pre and post game shows coming up for football season, there's going to be a lot of interaction going on our YouTube channel, Bronco Nation News YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Bronco Bronco Nation News. You can subscribe there. And while you're at it, subscribe to the 95.3 The Ticket KTIK YouTube channel. They're doing some daily video segments and things. And Mike, we are going to keep our top 25 going. We're down to number 8 and number 7. But I thought I did want to quickly get your take on two topics. One, you guys had Phil Steele on yesterday, and folks that want to hear that interview can go back to the podcast. I was listening to it earlier this morning while I was doing some stuff. You can download on iTunes the KTIK podcast, and then you get the shows put in there each evening. You can also go to KTIK.com and go find that interview. But Phil Steele, the magazine is out. You guys had him for 30 minutes. What was your takeaway from Phil Steele yesterday?
Well, Phil Steele makes everybody in Bronco Nation feel pretty good about themselves. He likes Boise State to win the Mountain West. He says Boise State will win the Mountain West. And, he talks about a lot of things that are going on offense, although he did leave Ashton Jeanty off of his top 8 running backs. Their credibility hit there is a little bit of a bothersome for me.
And then he threw somebody else under the bus.
Yeah, he said my Mountain West guru, my Mountain West writer wanted to pick one player from every team. That's not the Phil Steele way. That's not how he creates his information. I think he just flat out screwed that one up and tried to cover his ass a little bit. But he still likes Boise State. He likes, quote unquote, the exciting Taylon Green. How often have we used that phrase around here? Likes the wide receiver group. He says the weakest link on this football team is the linebacker position, although there is a superstar there and DJ Schramm. After that, he talks about and he's concerned about the depth on the defense. But overall, he's got some pretty good things to say. Says Boise State will be in the group of 5 race along with Texas, San Antonio, Tulane. I think maybe there was one other team
Toledo.
in there. Maybe even, was it Toledo or something? I think he was giving South Alabama some love at one point.
Toledo's got a pretty easy schedule. They're going to be favored in most of their games.
Boise State's schedule is right around 45th in his out of 133 teams. That was like 95th last year. So twice the hard of a schedule, but we know that around here. So Phil Steele, he's got lots of optimism, just like most Boise State fans do around here.
Now, when Johnny was on the show yesterday, Mike Prater, we got one of our higher viewerships that we've had in a long time. I don't know if I should just go change the title and put Kellen Moore in there for today somehow, and we can get that going or what. But we had a pretty good discussion going, a lot of comments about San Diego State and that whole debacle. We haven't had a chance really to talk to you much about it. When I came on Idaho Sports Talk last Friday, we kind of hoped what it sounds like, at least for now, is happening was going to happen. The Mountain West using the leverage that it has. And I don't think any of us, unless your stance has changed in the last few days, we still fully expect San Diego State to be in the Pac-12, to leave the Mountain West at some point. But for right now, the Mountain West is playing hardball, and they'll probably meet somewhere in the middle. The lawyers will come together. They'll figure something out. But for right now, the Mountain West is basically saying, no, you told us you were leaving, and when you get a chance, we'll take the rest of that $17 million. At least for the next few weeks, giving us stuff to talk about, and the popcorn, is cooking. I mean, it's kind of fun right now to see this play out.
Oh, it's great fun. It's perfect for you and I. I'm sure it's keeping Gloria Navarez and San Diego State and its staff and president and athletic department up every night. But we love it. And I'm 100% in agreement with you. At the end of the day, we're going to beat this to death. We're going to talk about it. We're going to exaggerate the headlines and have a lot of fun with a pretty good little controversy. But negotiations, compromise, lawyers, attorneys, lots of expensive bills and paperwork is going to come to fruition. I still don't know if San Diego State's – the only real question I have is – and I'm thinking more and more all the time, and it's just slightly, that San Diego State is not going to get that invitation to the Pac-12. Maybe the Pac-12 is going to stay status quo. So I 2 weeks ago, I thought it was a given. I'm not going to say that it's a given, although it'll probably happen. And then after that, the big question
12
is
still trying to get into the fourth time zone there.
No, I think the Big 12 is done. I mean, they had their dog and pony show last Friday. It turned midnight. They welcomed 4 new teams. I think that they're done. Could they add 2 more? Sure. I don't see that happening. I don't think that that's going to happen. And if they do, it would probably be more like an Arizona or a Colorado. But all the Pac-12 schools say that they're very united, although I haven't heard them say that for a couple of weeks. I'm kind of curious as to what's going on behind the scenes. My only real question moving forward is, will San Diego State be in the Mountain West 1 more year or 2 more years or forever? Really, it comes down to those 3 options for me.
Yeah, you're probably right about the Pac-12 schools potentially going to the Big 12, but I did hear Brett Yormark, the commissioner Yormark, recently say that he would love to stay at 14. So when Texas and Oklahoma leave, I think in a perfect world they would try to find 2 to add. But you're probably right. I think that by the way, the Big 12 with 12 teams, what a shocker. I mean, that kind of makes sense there, you'd think, but we'll see what happens. He did mention that fourth time zone. So I do think that a team in the Pacific time, which doesn't really help Boise State because they already have BYU, but potentially a West Coast team to get in there as well.
Yeah, and your Marcus said that multiple times. He says, I need that fourth time zone window for my conference. He'd love to have it, and he's been quoted it. And I think he says it exactly like that, the fourth time zone. And then Prater, just like a blind minion, just walking around. I repeated that the other day on the show, and then one of our very fine listeners pointed out there's no Pacific time zone team that they're talking to. I mean, Arizona, half the year stays on whatever time zone it stays on. No other team that they're talking about. I guess San Diego State, if it moves over, but I don't think there's any San Diego State to the Big 12 love. So, we're talking about Colorado and Arizona, or maybe the four corner schools from the Pac-12. None of those guys are in the Pacific time zone. So he kind of duped me on that. Maybe your Mark needs to do a geography lesson.
I still wouldn't hold out hope. I wouldn't rule out at some point. You'll probably laugh at me when I say this because on the field, on the court, they don't deserve it at all. But I wouldn't rule out UNLV as a player in all this. I just think that it's Vegas. What that sports city is growing. It's becoming. They're about to unveil another big brand new arena that they just built out there. Whether they deserve it or not, I think UNLV is going to be a player in all this before it's all said and done.
I don't think UNLV is going to be a player in this immediate what's going on here over the next 2 to 4 to 6 weeks or however long the Pac-12 plays this out. But let's say that the four corner schools from the Pac-12 go to the Big 12. Let's say that Oregon or Washington end up in the Big 10. It's kind of circulating out there that it's lingering, but I don't think it's going to happen. Any combination of any of that's going to happen. The second wave of news for the Pac-12, I think, is going to involve Boise State and UNLV. And that's the first time I've ever said that about UNLV. I believe what you're saying. I just don't think it's going to be immediate. But if the Pac-12 needs to get itself in order after losing some certain teams, Boise State and UNLV will absolutely be on the list.
Well, again, we'll see what happens with that in the next few weeks. And again, KTIK and Bronco Nation News, you'll both be at Mountain West Media Days in Las Vegas doing some cool collaboration with some shows and live streams and things for the interviews. Some of your guys' interviews will be on the BNN channel. Some of my stuff will be on your channels. We're going to hammer out all the final details of that next week, but excited about that. And we got some brand new expensive cameras we're going to debut down there as well, Mike.
Nice.
So, Mike Prater in HD, just what everybody needs to see.
Will it make me look better? That's all I care about. Will it make me look better?
I'm hoping to use it on myself, but there is a thin filter, I think, and then there's a tan filter, all kinds of stuff. We're going to work on that. But actually, these cameras are remote control, so we're gonna try to do some cool things, and we're upgrading the equipment to Bronco Nation News as we try to improve the quality of the broadcast for the pre and post game shows. And really excited about. We did it last year, and our first kind of time doing a live events like this, and so I think we've made some improvements, and looking forward to being down there at Mountain West Media Days and with you and Johnny and Bob for KTIK as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And in conjunction with that, we're unveiling our 25 most important players, and we're getting towards the end here. We will have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 each get their own day next week as we finish up with number 1 next Friday. Folks can probably guess who that's going to be. But we've got 3 to do in the next 2 days here, Mike, so to get us down in line for number 5 next Monday. So we're going to knock off number 8 and number 7 today, and we will do that in just a second. But first, want to tell folks, Cutwater Spirits, proud supporter of Bronco Nation News. We appreciate their support. More than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. You can pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. Rowpaint.com, they're still scheduling out for that concrete coating. I know Mike Prater knows all about rowpaint.com. Check them out. roepaint.com is the website. Concrete coatings, 5 times stronger than epoxy. The one-day install. They'll come walk you through the process for free at rowpaint.com. Lithia Ford of Boise's got the anniversary sale going on. That means the lowest deals of the summer right now. And again, they will purchase your used vehicle, the cash offer from the appraiser on the spot. If you go check them out, LithiaFordBoise.com. Again, view their full inventory of vehicles. And Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. They will bring you episode 3 of the Tyson Degenhart Show on Tuesday. Looking forward to that. ICCU.com, episode 3 of the Tyson Degenhart Show. And if you're looking for some new Boise State gear, the blueandorange.store.com has you taken care of. Free shipping, any order over $40. And if you're in the Boise area, just go to the Boise Town Square Mall. They're on the second floor next to Pro Image, the blueandorange.store.com. I have not told Mike Prater about this, but because you don't know about our special announcements, but once we get past the special announcements, there is a tie-in with the Blue and Orange store that's making one of the announcements happen, and so we appreciate Travis Hawks and the Blue and Orange store and what they're doing for Bronco Nation News, and more details to come on some cool things that we are working on with them. Okay, Mike, we could go either way here in terms of who we want to go first. I'm going to start with Stefan Cobbs, wide receiver. Now, we had Latrell Caples yesterday. Me and Johnny talked about Latrell Caples. You look at the stats, Latrell Caples certainly had the better season last year from a stat perspective. We, as a BNN team, have Steph Cobbs as the higher-ranked player. I think some just based on, hype, potential, what we've heard about Steph Cobbs the last couple of years, being that next guy, and whether it be for nagging ankle injuries or whether it be for whatever reason, it just hasn't fully come to show what Steph Cobbs, I believe, thinks the player he can be and this team thinks he can be. So I know some people might be a little surprised by that we have Cobbs rated higher than Caples based on the seasons they had last year. But for me, it was, okay, Steph Cobbs, we've been hearing about you. It's time to step up. You need to be the number one receiver on this team. Now, again, this is most important. And, Mike, I think we both feel pretty good about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 wide receivers on this team contributing this year. So you could argue that both these guys are too high because you got plenty of options at wide receiver, and that's perfectly fine if you want to do that. But with Taylor Green, and I said it yesterday, he's still not the most polished passer of all time. He's going to need some receivers to go up and make some plays. He's going to need some receivers to help him out. And for me, Steph Cobbs is the most important receiver of this group as a leader, as an experienced guy. He's also going to help on special teams, obviously, in the return game. Where are you at on Steph Cobbs?
Make or break year for Steph Cobbs. Is Steph Cobbs going to be a kind of a football player that has a future beyond college football, or is he just going to be an average college football player? And frankly, he's just been an average to good college football player, but he's not anywhere close to a superstar. He had superstar hype last year, and he coming off that, whatever it was, his third year, junior year, whatever it is they call it in terms of eligibility these days, that third year, he had a monster year. He had his best year, and then all that hype last year, and he settled back down. Now, that's maybe not a fault of his own. You talked about the ankle injury. You talked about the depth. You talked about Taylor Green. You talked about the offensive coordinator switch and all the chaos that happened with the offense. So it's almost like he gets a free pass last year. But here comes the hype again, and maybe it isn't as strong as it was last year because he's surrounded by these Caples. Don't forget my boy Billy Bowens and everybody else. I know there's lots and lots of depth in that wide receiver.
Eric McAllister. I mean, you can go down the list, yeah.
I think Eric McAllister might be the best wide receiver in the group, and I can't wait to see how that plays out this year. But all eyes on Static Cobbs, and is he going to come up and rise to be a number one wide receiver? This is going to be his 5th year. He doesn't even have a career 1,000 yards yet. And his production dropped last year, even with the depth issues, even with Taylor Green, everything. I need Static Cobbs to step up and be a true blue class number one wide receiver.
Yeah, 2, I would say, solid seasons, but not necessarily good or great seasons the last couple of years. You mentioned 2 years ago in 2021, 421 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 34 catches. He essentially had the same season again last year, but just slightly lower, 396 yards, 29 receptions. We talked about Latrell Caples yesterday, Prater. He had 51 catches. I said you would take those numbers. He had 51 for 550 and 4. I said it in a heartbeat. You would take those numbers again from Latrell Caples, but that's assuming guys like Steph Cobbs step up and have bigger years.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that that's going to happen, and probably by design. I would imagine they're going to spread this ball over. Don't forget the tight end. You got Riley Smith in there too, who's he's been the most visible, one of the most visible. Him and DJ Schramm have been the 2 most visible players this offseason. Leadership guys that are supposed to go off and have these kinds of productive years. So there's so many different weapons for Taylor Green. And we sit around talking about, could they have 3 1,000-yard rushers? Could they have 2 1,000-yard rushers? Where's all this production going to come from? I mean, the bodies are there. The scheme is there. I cannot wait to see what Bush Hamden does, but you can only feed so many. I mean, if there was, if I grew up in a household with 10 other brothers and sisters, I wouldn't have grown up as fat as I was because, you got to spread the food around, man. You got to spread it around and make everybody look good. And that's kind of, Static Cobbs is a great team player, but I'd kind of like them to be a little bit more selfish and become an individual superstar. That'd be a lot of fun to watch.
This sounds like a topic for a BNN segment with you guys at some point over the next month, but over under the leading receiver in terms of catches. We both have been known to put down an over-under bet or two in our day at Circa Resort and Casino. What do you think's a fair number, a good number? Whoever leads the team in catches for Boise State, how many catches does the leading receiver have? You had 51 with Latrell Capels last year. Is that too high?
No, I need somebody to be the 50, and I'm not sure if that's going to be Static, Capels. I don't think McAllister is ready for that kind of a productive role yet. Maybe down the road, he's going to have individual superstar moments. But somebody's going to have to be 50. I really, truly think somebody's going to have to be 50. And if they get 4 or 5 guys in the 30 to 50 range, that's exactly what Bush Hamden wants. But they talk about stretching the field. They talk about getting the ball downfield. Static Cobbs has that speed. He can make that happen. I really think that I'm going to go with Static Cobbs this year, 50 plus, and it needs to happen.
Do you are you okay with, again, we forgot Prince Strawn was another receiver somebody brought up as well. We'll see there, but are you okay? And again, I know definition of important is different, but in terms of the wide receiver pecking order, are you still okay in terms of importance, need to step up, etc. this year? I mean, are you okay with Steph Cobbs? It sounds like you're a big McAllister guy, but in terms of him being the most important to the group, if he were to go down in the first game or something, they're still probably okay. Yeah. Where do you see Steph Cobbs now? Because you mentioned he was one time a superstar and the next Khalil Shakir and all this stuff. I mean, is he still at the top of the pecking order right now, or has somebody surpassed him for you?
Well, it has zero credibility. It might as well be toilet paper, but there's my seating chart. I actually call it the seating chart.
And I look at Danielson thing.
That's a Spencer Danielson thing. I used to call it my spring depth chart. And he called it a seating chart one day, and I changed the title of my notes. But I got Cobbs 1, I got Capels 2, Bowens 3, McAllister 4, Strawn number 5. I know Strawn's on this team, but I don't see him being a significant first game to last game contributor. Maybe a couple of moments here and there, but his day is to come. And then a whole bunch of other people behind him, including the local guys like Ben Ford and Austin Bolt. Sadly, out of 11 wide receivers, maybe 12, I have Austin Bolt last. I'm not even sure what the status of that dude is with the team anymore.
I asked Johnny about that yesterday, and I guess, he's still technically on the roster. We'll have to kind of figure that out, I guess, moving forward, what's going on with him. But, okay, we'll go from offense to defense. We'll do that in just a second as we get down to number 7 on our list. But first, after I coach one of my kids' baseball games today, I'll be heading to get some lunch at leanfeast.com/ we got to get Mike Prater to try some Lean Feast here. It's delicious, healthy, filling food. That's a big thing for me with these meal prep services and things. A lot of times it's not enough food or it's frozen. You don't get to pick, the sides, things like that. So leanfeast.com/ Meridian. It's fully customizable. And you just go down the line like you're at your local sub shop and get what you want, and they weigh it for you, and you pay by the ounce. And I highly recommend it. It's cheaper than going to like a Chipotle or something too. So check it out, leanfeast.com/ Marine. They're now feeding Taylon Green, Ashton Genty, Dimitri Washington, Tyson Degenhardt, as well as the entire basketball team this summer is getting some of their meals from Lean Feast. So highly recommend them. Check them out, leanfeast.com. Another one of our announcements coming up on Monday actually is made possible in part thanks to Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, the #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. We'll tell you more about it, but no home is too big or too small for Matt Bauscher and his team. Check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. ShopRidleys.com as well. If you need a local grocery store, another supporter of the local athletics team, check them out, ShopRidleys.com. Find a location near you, 13 across the state of Idaho. And again, go download their app. You need business insurance? Bronco Nation News, a happy client of United Commercial Insurance. Check them out, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. Check them out. Quick call could save you hundreds of dollars on your business insurance at UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. And Boise Dentistry Co. If you need a dentist for the whole family, full family dentistry, they make it an enjoyable experience to go to the dentist. Those are my kids on the screen there. Really happy we made the switch. So we're a client of Boise Dentistry Co., and we highly recommend them, BoiseDentistryCo.com. And certainly Prater, last but not least, got to give one more shout out to Circa. We're going to be there on in 2 weeks for Media Days. I'm still trying to talk Mike Prater into it. While we're there, you, me, Johnny, maybe Tust, whoever else we can wrap up, we all throw in $250. We sign up for the $1,000 one. Would you rather do the Survivor, or would you rather pick the 5 games against the spread every week?
Oh, I'm terrible against the spread. My legendary gambling stories are not good, so I could be pretty good at the Survivor pool.
$8 million winner take all for the Survivor. Weekly picks, no point spread, and $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Again, you have to sign up in Las Vegas at Circa. Actually, you can sign up in Nevada. You can sign up in Reno if you'd like to. They've got a new sports book at Circa Sports at the casino in Reno. Or you can sign up in Las Vegas. And again, you can play from anywhere. We used they're called proxies, Prater, that you can have make your picks for you. So we did that last year and looking forward to doing it again. So thanks to Derek Stevens. And Prater, I talked to Johnny about this. I guess I'm putting you on the spot here, but Derek Stevens, the billionaire owner, huge sports fan, knows a ton about sports. He built the world's largest sports book. If you guys want him down in Vegas, I can get him as a guest on your show.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen because, I know he's close friends with Brent Musburger. I spent like 10 years trying to get Brent Musburger on this show. We finally got him when we did a show down in Vegas a couple of years ago. And I follow Derek. I follow him on social media. I've actually stayed at his property, the Hotel D, and I kind of appreciate the what he's done in that part of Las Vegas. So heck yeah, let's bring him on. Let's get him on here and have some fun.
Only if you and Johnny can just hype me up the entire interview as being, as Johnny would say, the Adam Schefter of Boise or something.
Yeah, we'll talk
he's
about
unavailable.
that.
He's unavailable. But no, I did talk to the representatives at Circa, and I think he'll whether it's I think it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday when you're there. We'll get him to come by in media days and maybe jump on a couple shows, and they will definitely have time for Boise and KTIK due to their partnership with us at BNN. So excited. More details on that to come as we move forward. So number 7 on our list, we're going back to the defensive side. And we're going Seyi Oladipo. We've already talked about Alexander Tubner. We've talked about some of the corners. We have not talked about Rodney Robinson, and I'll just throw it out there now. He is tomorrow's pick. I had Rodney Robinson, Cade Beresford kind of in there, Steph, Oladipo, Caples, all these guys kind of, I think, pretty even in this kind of 4 through 9 range, Prater. Because of Rodney Robinson starting every game last year, having a little more experience as a leader of that group, as a safety position, the one returning guy in the secondary as a starter, I put him just slightly ahead of Seyi Oladipo. I'll talk more with Johnny about that tomorrow. He's filling in for Jay. But I don't know where you would stand on those two guys, but obviously it's a very important year for Seyi Oladipo, taking over as a starter for Tyreek Jones. Big shoes to fill. He's played a lot. There's been some injuries and things. He's got some playing time, so he's not new. He played as a true freshman, had a couple interceptions, I think, in that UTEP game down the blue a couple years ago. So he's been around for a while, but this will be his first year as the full starter taking over for Tyreek Jones. Number 7 on our list here, we've got Seyi Oladipo.
I love the way you set that up because I had to ask you and Bob right before the show, did Seyi Oladipo make his first start in the bowl game last year against North Texas? Because that's what my notes told me. But I'm thinking this dude's played a heck of a lot more than that. And so you're right on. He's played a lot. He played a lot last year. He was very productive. This is an important position. This might be the most important position as opposed to an edge rusher or a DJ Schramm playing middle linebacker for this football team. The nickel position, and maybe it's because of the dependability and the athletes that have been back there the last couple of years. Kaniho, Tyree Jones. It's such a fun position, and it can be so productive as guys flying around. Seyi Oladipo, when given the opportunity, has done pretty well for himself. Is he a dependable, everyday starter for the next couple of years? I can't wait to see it. I think he is. I like the way this guy plays football, and it's a very important position. So I'm very excited to see where he is. And I agree with you on Rodney Robinson. He is the one stable, dependable factor tomorrow on this football team in the secondary. So tell Johnny not to screw that one up tomorrow.
And you look at some of the individual games that he had 10 tackles, half a tackle for loss, had a 48-yard interception return for a touchdown against Utah State. And then he backed it up in the bowl game. 11 tackles, a career high, 7 solo tackles, had a pass breakup against North Texas. So Seyi Oladipo also finished very strong at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think he's a playmaker. He's a dynamic playmaker. So maybe the one area where he could be a little bit better, just, give me some more dynamic hits, be more of a physical football player. I don't think he's had any forced fumbles. I don't remember any highlight JL Skinner type tackles. Maybe there's a couple out there that I just don't remember, but I think he's got the physical tools. He's not an overly big guy. I think he checks in right at about less than 6 feet and about 200 pounds. So somewhat thick. And I think he can go out there and lay some lumber. I'd like to see him be more physical this football season.
Now we've got 6 left. As I said, Rodney Robinson will be tomorrow. And then what I think I might do, Prater, is I've got the top 5. Maybe I do some sort of Twitter poll or YouTube poll, maybe on tomorrow's show, and we let the fans kind of re-rank the top 5 maybe if we want to. We've got 5 left. It's Cade Beresford, Talon Green, Ashton Genty, George Hilani, and DJ Schramm. Any issue with Cade Beresford being in the top 5 based on the other guys we're talking about right now?
Cade Beresford, on paper going into the season, absolutely. But there's some depth. I'm still not 100% convinced that he's going to be the starting left tackle. I think maybe he could dabble with the right. We've been led to believe he's going to be the starting left tackle, but I don't think that that's set in stone. Nobody's really said that. So we'll see where Cade Beresford ends up, and we'll see what kind of depth there is behind him. The offensive line is going to be very intriguing. By the way, going back to our opening conversation about Phil Steele and what he said about Boise State, he loves Boise State's offensive line.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. He had him ranked pretty high. And again, we have Genty and Holani in the top 5. You could argue that, if one gets hurt, the other guy takes over, maybe both of them. I think Bob was talking to me about that, and he's spot on in terms of both those guys. But I still think that they're both going to be relied on a ton, and they're going to be a huge part of the offense. I couldn't leave either of those guys outside the top 5 in terms of star power and most important players. But I do think Beresford, Robinson, Cobbs, Oladipo, Caples, a lot of those guys were interchangeable, which is why I've not really focused much on the number next to the name, but just the players from kind of that 6 to 15 range. But me and Johnny talked about it the other day. We kind of settled on Beresford at 5, just because of the line needs to be better this year, and you're going to get a lot of run in the football, and you need some veteran experience there. And so we went with Beresford, but we had, I think, 2 other linemen on our list. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow. We'll let folks re-rank the top 5. You got Green, Holani, Genty, Schramm, and Beresford is who we have left. Rodney Robinson will be tomorrow. So I've got a 8U state tournament to coach, Mike Prater, the Meridian All-Stars, my son Naismith. I am one of the assistant coaches, so we've got a game here at Settlers Park that I've got to rush off to, and then we've got here I am telling you we'll go short today. Now I just look and we're already over 30. We're at 31 minutes. So I knew JP was off. I figured we could go long. I wouldn't hear about it. But no, we got some baseball today, and then I'll be back with Johnny tomorrow. And then I guess next Thursday, Mike Prater will be doing number 2. So that could probably be either Schramm, Holani, or Genty, I would assume would be number 2. So we'll have plenty to talk about next week. And then we'll the following week be in Las Vegas. So looking forward to it, Mike. Appreciate your time as always. And again, July 10th on Monday, we'll make our first of 3 big announcements. So make sure you're tuning in live next Monday to Bronco Nation News Live. Prater, we'll be listening. You and Prater, you and Johnny today. You haven't had your meeting yet, though. Any idea what you got coming up on today's show?
We are going to talk to Mike Varell, the Seattle Times. He covers the University of Washington for the Seattle Times. As we continue the world's longest pregame show, we're going to dive into that and our ongoing conversation about Gloria Navarez. Gloria the Gangster, as my partner Johnny Ballgame likes to call her. So San Diego State versus Mountain West, we're going to deal with that every single day until there's some kind of conclusion here.
I assume she'll sit down. Commissioner Thompson always did, but I assume Gloria will sit down one-on-one with you guys, one-on-one with us, and we'll make sure we have the video cameras going for both of those segments as well. So I'm excited about that down in Vegas as well. Sorry we didn't get to all the YouTube comments. We had a lot of comments today, but we were kind of short on time, and we'll get to those tomorrow with Johnny. But have a great rest of your day. Listen 3 to 6 today, 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, the ticket to Johnny and Prater and Bob. And we'll talk to you tomorrow, 9 a.m., Bronco Nation News Live. Go subscribe on YouTube. BroncoNationNews.com.